I have a question about everything and nothing. Very fine question. A very fine thing to ask about. I have heard you say there is nothing, but you also say about energy, and some say there is not nothing, but no thing, like intelligent energy or awareness or consciousness. Is the energy not the awareness experience that is eternal? I think I might need the toilet. No, it's passed. Okay. I mean, well, Trav, does it really matter to you? What's the urge to know the answer? What difference does it make? What are you trying to work out? Like, what are you trying to get from that question? I mean, the answer is that all of this is one thing expressing itself as many. So whether you say it's no thing or everything or awareness or consciousness, what is your issue with that? Is it because you've seen consciousness as a personal entity? So the person has seen that there is something conscious of it, and that feels very relaxing for the person. Then you think, I'm consciousness, I know I'm consciousness, and that's what's never going to die, and that makes me feel a bit more secure. But then some people talk about nothing, and that's really scary. Is there nothing or awareness? What does it matter to you, Trav? Before I answer you. Because my feeling is, even though I've never met you and I just see TM, that my feeling is that your question isn't really about that. Your question is most probably that you're petrified of death. Nothing. Which isn't actually being afraid of death, it's actually being afraid of losing things. So when you answer me, I'll answer you. What a power game she's playing. Who does she think she is? I'm paying for this talk. Hey, Mac. I just do this while I wait for Trev to answer. Hi, Lisa. I love your live talks. Have a very important question to ask. Who let the dogs out? Did you do it, Lisa? Who let the dogs out? Who? Not afraid of death. We are eternal. I just want to clarify. We do this thing in England when somebody is telling a porky pie. We go, chinny chin chin. I don't believe that you're not afraid of death. Hey, Bia. If, Trav, you feel anger at me saying that, that means that you're in defense and protecting something. Okay, I may be afraid. It's just some say there is nothing, but some say there is awareness. Is there not nothing? And it seems more suitable that awareness can create what we see here in existence and nothing. I am not enlightened. I am probably just a big ego, but it's just, is there nothing or awareness? But also awareness is a label, and apparently what we are can't really be named or spoken of, only pointed to. But why is it that you can't feel, Trav, where that question's coming from? So I'm all happy for going and really speaking about nothing and everything and awareness, because I love that subject. But I'm also an energetical being that can just tell where questions are coming from. And I can tell that you can't tell where that question's coming from, and that's suspicious. So I'm going to explain this. in in simple terms. I'm sorry, guys, I'm sorry. If you are a woman, you will understand this. I just got my period this afternoon, and I haven't taken any medication for it, and it plays funny games on me. You know, when you get the contractions from the period, it makes you feel like you need the toilet. So I'm having those moments during the talk where I'm like, no, okay, we're fine. Oh, no, we're fine. It depends if you're a woman that gets more intense period pains or not. Okay. So okay, let me explain this to you in detail. So everything comes from nothing. No thing, not a thing, not a thing you can name. Consciousness is something you can name, so that doesn't mean consciousness. So in the Buddhist Sutra, so my first teaching before Advaita was Buddhism, so consciousness too, isn't it? So everything comes from nothing. If everything is nothing, it by default means that it's everything. So that no thing is everything. Now, you can refer to consciousness in saying that consciousness is everything, because in order for everything to appear now, there has to be a knowing of it. So everything inherently has a self-knowing. So you could say that in some way, consciousness is the bridge between nothing and everything. Because in order for it to be everything, there has to be a consciousness, otherwise there would be nothing. Everything can't exist without there being a consciousness of it. But that everything is also nothing, not a thing. It's not coming from everywhere. It's not a thing that can be grabbed hold of or known. It's a total and utter mystery. So I said that quite quickly. And most probably you might need to rewind that a few times to be able to get a sense of that. But let me describe what happens on the human form. So this human, like all your feelings, everything comes from nothing right now, spontaneously. It doesn't come from the past. It comes from this right here. Everything that's happening, so every thought and feeling you're having is coming right now. But it goes through a timeline, apparent timeline. So right now, your actions appear from right now. They don't appear from the past, but they follow a pattern of the past. So your actions don't just suddenly start behaving like an elephant. You don't just suddenly start behaving like a magpie or a bee or an insect. There's always the possibility, but you stay in the character of Trav. So Trav has this apparent timeline that he goes through, and he behaves in that apparent timeline, but that timeline is appearing now. That thought of that timeline is appearing now. The memories of the past is appearing now. Everything comes from this presence, what's happening. It doesn't come from the past, but it appears, contraction again. It appears in it appears in the flow of you. So when you ask that question, you think maybe that you're asking it because you want intellectual resolution. But actually that's, on the surface level, actually you do want intellectual resolution. On the seeking level, your mind wants an answer so it can stop thinking about the answer. And then once you've got the answer, then you think you'll relax. But that's seeking. And then there's a deeper level to that. This deeper level of why you're asking the question. So if it was just thinking without feelings, you wouldn't care about the answer so much. It just wouldn't happen that there would be thinking without feelings. It's that you have a feeling inside of you, an agitation inside of you that propels you in to needing to get an answer to satisfy you. And that agitation is most probably, on the deepest level, a fear of not existing. So on the surface, it's gone through all these layers in your apparent story of trying to stop being agitated by finding things, a partner, a lover, security, money, people, home, visas, who knows what your life's been. And then eventually you've got to spirituality, and then you begin to believe that resolution comes in spirituality. So at first you go and explore all spirituality and different systems and this and that. And while you're exploring it, you'll be sticking your flag in, going, yes, this is the truth, this is the answer, this is the best thing. And you'll be waving your flag, and then you'll move on and you'll evolve to something else. And the whole time you believe it's in that timeline, and that you're going to get it in that timeline. And that you're going to get the answer in the timeline. Because you have this deep feeling inside that propels you to do that. It propels you to seek in time. The answer's actually been here the whole time. What you've been looking for throughout your life has been here the whole time. You don't even need me to answer that question, whether it's awareness or whether it's consciousness, or whether it's nothing or everything, or whether Tony Parsons says this or somebody else says that. That's all bullshit on the surface. You don't need that answer. All you need to do is collapse back into what's happening, and the answer is there. It's not even that the answer's there, the question disappears and everything is complete. It's just known instantly. So then you think on the human level, how do I do that? How do I do that? And I'm going to tell you the most profound story that was ever written. And I would be honored, I write stories, if I could ever write a story so beautiful. The Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree for 40 days and 40 nights. And Maya presented itself. Illusion presented itself, and the Buddha did not move. That is the perfect story. Let me tell you another perfect story, also from Buddhism. I'm sorry, I know we're an inviter and I really should be telling stuff about Ramana or something, or Ajya. No, not what's his name again? From the Bhagavad Gita. All these foreign names, very impossible to keep up. Why can't they have names like Trev or Kevin? Be a lot easier. Anyway, another really profound story is oh gosh, there's lots of foreign names in this one as well. So just excuse my pronunciation of them. There was this man named Agunamala. If you've followed me for a long time, you know my attempts at trying to pronounce this name. So we're just going to call him Agunamala. Agunamala. Now that's a northern Indian name, I think. Agunamala. And he lived in the forest, and I think originally he used to study at the university. He was very intelligent, and for some reason he got into his head from an argument or something that happened that he had to go and live in the forest, and he had to kill and cut off the baby finger of 100 men that walked through the forest. 100 men or women or children, I think it was anyone. And he had to cut off the finger, and he had to put the finger around his neck and wear it as like a mala. I forget what the argument was that he had at the university, and I'm sure that's an important part to the story. It's a bit unclear. I think all the stories that retell this story, or the books that retell this story, they tell it differently. So he did this, and he lived in the forest, and he got to number 99. So he killed 99 people, and he had 99 baby fingers around. So this little baby finger around the neck. And then the Buddha went to walk through the forest, and everyone at the village before the forest said, no, you can't walk through there. Agunamala lives there, and he's going to kill you, and he's going to take your baby finger. You mustn't walk through there. And so the Buddha just ignored them and carried on walking. Let's just be clear, I would not do this. I'm not recommending that you walk through a forest with somebody that's a mass murderer. I presume that this is a metaphor. It could be a true story. So the Buddha walked through the forest, and a Gulamala saw the Buddha and was like, yes, I have my 100 baby finger. And he chases the Buddha. And he chases the Buddha, but something very strange happens. He cannot catch up with the Buddha. The Buddha isn't running, not even jogging. He's just walking at a normal pace. But as fast as he runs, he can't catch up with the Buddha. The same distance stays between them. So eventually he screams at the Buddha, stop! I can't catch up with you. And the Buddha replies, so he says, stop, I can't catch up with you. You're moving too fast. And the Buddha replies, I am perfectly still. It is you that is moving too fast. And that is why you cannot catch me. What a story. Isn't that beautiful? I am perfectly still. It is you that are moving too fast and you cannot catch me. It's beautiful. I love that story. And in those stories, there is your answer. I mean, it says it all. It really just says it all. I remember when I first heard that story, I thought it was about compassion. I was like, it's about compassion. Yeah, it's not about compassion.